Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thanks for wanting to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can, before getting to the Fenneko topic, I can just kind of jump around and ask about
Yeah.
other roles so far.
You can ask me whatever.
Okay. So did everything start with Vampire Killers, the short film?
Oh my gosh. That's so long ago. I was such a baby. Yeah, I was still in college. I went to Chapman University, which is a small liberal arts college here in California, in Orange County. And I think I was a senior that at that point, and I was a theater major, and I started auditioning up in LA. And I auditioned for this random web series before web series were like a thing. Like this was web series at this time. I'm dating myself. Were like really new. Like a lot of people hadn't done them. And so I was like, I don't even know what this is. But yeah, I went through an audition process for it and got the part and then shot it a few months later. And it was really cool, actually. It was very, it was really dark, but it was really, I played a victim and with some wonderful people. They were all really, really great, but it was really emotional because I had to like cry in a bathtub and get bitten by a vampire. And
Hmm.
it was a lot, but it was cool. It was cool.
And what how you got into SAG, be working on Medium?
Yeah, that is how I got into SAG. I did, it's always who you know, right? My dad had a friend had a friend that knew the transportation guy. Sorry, that's not the right term. The head of transportation on set,
Yeah.
and he was a good friend, and so he passed my name along, and I was able to do some featured extra days on Medium, and then got my SAG card. It was really not exciting at all. I mean, it was cool. I got to talk to Patricia Arquette a little bit, and she was really, really cool. I have nothing but amazing things to say about her. She was just super chill, no ego, really, really nice. But yes, so yeah, I started on camera a little bit. It was hard though. It was really hard. I think that's why I transitioned into voiceover. I found that was a little bit easier than having to sell myself as an on-camera actor, I think.
Right.
So,
What was the first any kind of voiceover role that you got?
ooh, haha. Well, the first time I ever did what we call Walla, which I'm sure you've heard that term before,
Right.
was on Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
Tony Oliver, he was the director. And so I got to come in and do Walla on that. And I just remember being like, this is crazy. My first two roles I ever got were in Little Witch Academia, and I played two of the professors, and that was thanks to Lucian Dodge had become a good friend, and so had Laura Post,
Yeah.
and they were directing it, and they gave me a shot. And it was, I think the funniest thing about Little Witch is like everybody was like, you're never going to need dialects in anime. Everything's just going to be standard American. And my first two roles were an English dialect and a New York or New Jersey dialect for two of these characters. So it wasn't even my natural voice, which is hilarious to me because I was like, you guys are wrong. But yeah, I played Babcock and oh no, oh no, the flying instructor. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Well, there goes my memory. Nelson. Oh, I got it. Okay, Professor Nelson. Yeah,
Did,
that was my
and
favorite.
did you take the dubbing easily, or was it difficult to get used to?
I think it was difficult to get used to for a couple of reasons. I think anybody who says that they just took to it really fast, I think is lying. I think it's a pat your head while you're rubbing your stomach type thing where you're trying to read the line because you're never well, I won't say you never, but you're usually not sent a script ahead of time. So you're taking in the line, you're also previewing the Japanese and you're going, okay, 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 and then it beeps and you're like, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
Did it fit? I don't know. You know, so it's a lot of there's a lot of tech um in your brain. I think your brain is like using a lot of different sides when you're dubbing. So no, I don't think I took to it easily. I just think that I practiced, and I was able to cut my teeth. I took classes with Tony Oliver, and I was able to, he taught me a lot about how to handle it. And I also think that with the anime anyway, I had been used to the on-camera reads. Even though I'm a theater trained actor, I'd been used to more of a subtle read. Anime and a lot of voiceover in general requires a little bit more than that. You got to be a little bit more presentational. So I kind of had to tap into that theater skill that I had. So yeah, voiceover is a weird blend of film and theater because, it's technically it's a recorded media, but I think you have to use a little bit more presence of yourself than you would normally on film.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And I would guess maybe that the first more dramatic role in anime would be the mom in Sirius the Jaeger.
Oh yeah. God. What did I do now? Oh yeah. Sorry. These all happened so long ago, and they're like they're a 20-minute session. And so
Okay.
it's like a lot of the time I don't always remember. I do remember that. I do know what happened there. Yeah, it's funny. I think with the more dramatic stuff, everybody's always like, "Oh, was that hard to do?" Yeah, with the more dramatic stuff, that's actually what I tap into more easily. And not to sound like, "Oh, I can do all the dramatic stuff." It's just I think it's easier to tap into something really heightened, something really life or death, rather than having to play something that requires nuance and subtlety. I think that's much more difficult than going, okay, you just lost your child, go. It's like, well, obviously that's going to look pretty similar for everybody, right? It's going to be a huge burst of emotion. And I don't know, for some reason, and maybe it's in school I was able to do it, maybe it's trauma, I don't know. I'm easily able to tap into that emotional stuff. So
Okay.
it's not really the hardest for me, funny enough. It's the stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, got it, let's go. So it's funny.
Well, that is one of my signature questions with voice actors, is always asking what is the single most darkest headspace you had to get into for a role.
Oh, darkest. I mean, it's so natural for me now to have to just go to places, and sometimes I'll be totally honest, sometimes yes, I'm thinking about the situation, but also because of all of the tech involved, and because it's like, oh, can you do this, but can you hit this word, or it's like I can't ever really lose myself entirely in a performance, I don't think, because I
Okay.
think you need to retain some of you to be able to do what you need to do, technically speaking. But probably the most recent would be Kisara in Tales of Arise. Her really intense, anytime you have to do blood curdling screams, I mean, that's got to come from like all the way down in your center, and you got to just, she had lost a brother, and it made me, I lost a brother when I was 16. And so I actually kind of, it's not the same thing because that's so long ago, and I don't like to really use substitution. Like I don't really like to use stuff from my own life, but what I can use is I know the feeling of that shock, and that kind of surreal shock that just hits you like a ton of bricks and then makes you just want to lash out. Like I know that in myself, and so I just kind of like lent that to that performance with Kisara. And it's always with dubs, we watched the Japanese first. I knew where she needed to go. So I just go, okay, how do I get myself there? And how do I do it believably? And yeah, so I wouldn't say it was like a super dark place. It was just reminding myself, what that pain feels like, and living in it for a few minutes and then going, okay, we're done, kind of breathing it out. But yeah.
Do you think that Kisara is one of the characters that you played so far that you can relate the most to then?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't like fishing, but and I had to talk about fishing, ad nauseum. No, I mean, fishing's whatever. I'm not as passionate about fishing or cooking or like any of that, but her being a strong, woman, strong warrior, kind of not, having to prove herself, I totally resonate. Or that resonates with me rather. And, losing a family member for sure.
Mm.
So yeah, I would say also Fenneko. I relate to Fenneko a lot, but I think she resonates with me just because I love her and she's so snarky. The aspect of her that does not jive as much as I'm not as obsessed with social media and like Sherlock Holmesing people. I'm really like I've absolutely stalked people on Facebook, but like I don't that's not like a normal thing for me. I don't keep up with everybody's lives like Fenneko does. So that's different.
And was Fenneko your first any kind of major anime part?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. Yes. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, other than Rising of the Shield Hero, the Queen in that, I mean, that was big-ish, but not, I mean, I didn't get, God, I didn't even know it had come out. I'm terrible, by the way. I'm terrible. I didn't even know it had come out for like, until like 8 months after it was already out. And I was like, no, I played this person. Whoops. Yeah, I'm a space cadet when it comes to when things come out. But yeah, Fenneko definitely was my biggest role, my first big role. And it was cool. When I saw I remember glimpsing part of the when I knew who the cast was, I was like, oh my God, oh no, why do they trust me? Oh, I shouldn't be here. It was definitely one of those like moments of like, oh God, everybody in this cast is amazing. I freaked out.
Well, because when I talked to GK Bose, she said that she auditioned for basically every female character. Was that your same thing too?
Yes, I absolutely did. I auditioned for everybody. I think I think Kabai was so funny. I knew I wasn't going to get her, but she cracked me up. Reading all of them, I was like, oh, Fenneko is absolutely the closest to what I should book. I mean, we'll see if I do, but yeah, between Fenneko and, I didn't know really what they wanted to do with Retsuko, but like Fenneko was definitely. Fenneko and I could have maybe seen myself doing like Washimi. I mean, Terra Platz, I wouldn't touch it now, but you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, I could maybe do that one. But Fenneko was pretty much the obvious one for me. But I auditioned for everybody because I was like, well, whatever.
And whose once you did get the role of Fenneko was whose like suggestion was it to just stick with your natural voice, or was that always what you did?
I think, it's funny. I think if you listen to earlier Fenneko, I'm on a little bit of it. I'm pitching up just slightly, but then eventually it just, because of the character and because of finding her, it kind of just settled. Because I was like, well, that's not really right. When Patrick and I were working on it, it fit. My natural voice fit because she's snarky, she's understated. It really contrasts Retsuko well, contrasts Haido well, like it makes her different. And I think it's interesting because I think that maybe some people would have thought that that a more pitched up sound would have been Fenneko because she's tiny. But I think it's funnier to have her have, my deeper resonant voice. And it's easier for me to do those flat deadpan deliveries. I think my voice lends itself to that more.
Was it just totally easy then to do like the laugh that she has?
The laugh is it's not easy. I can do it obviously, but no, I struggle with it sometimes because it takes like you have to use your like stomach to do the ha 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 ha, you know what I mean? And it's not the easiest. I'll run out of air or I'll be like, that sucked. Hold on, let me give you another one. That came about though because the Japanese actors did it. That wasn't a choice that I made. I mean, like, I'd love to be like, yes, it was me, but no, it wasn't. I was just like, we were looking at the flaps and we were, we tried a bunch of different laughs. And then Patrick was like, can you do what she's doing? And I was like, probably, let's try. And I did. And they were like, screw it, let's do it. So yeah, that's how that came about. It's so funny. being in that booth and recording that, I would have never thought that that people would key into that so much. I'm like, it's just a funny laugh. Like, I don't get it, but you know, if it's funny, it's funny, I guess.
Well, what are some of your personal favorite lines of hers?
I like the ones that like nobody keys in on, but when I was recording them, I was dying. Like there's I think in season 3, the season where Retsuko's mom comes in and is like really overbearing.
Mhm.
There's a line Fenneko has where she's just like, "Your mom's a troll," and that like killed me. I don't know why. And then the other one was like when she's obsessed, Retsuko's obsessed with the VR boyfriend. And she's like grabbing Fenneko in this like overtly dramatic, like, his name is oh god, what's his name?
Saya.
Yes, his name is Saya and we're in love. And then I think Fenneko just has like a "this is tragic" line. And I love buttons and like juxtapositions. And so it cracked me up. I love and I love anytime Fenneko can like startle somebody or like or just says something like under the cuff. Like that's always my favorite. I think it made me laugh so hard when there's a scene where Haida's at the soda can machine and he's talking about Fenneko. He's saying something, I can't remember the line, but she walks up behind him and is just like, "Why doesn't Fenneko know about this?" And he's like, "Ah!" Anytime I get to yell at Ben too, because that's all I can hear. With Haida, like I always just think about Ben Diskin, and I'm like, anytime I get to like scream at Ben, like as drunken Fenneko, that's the best. So I love all of that. I can't remember all the lines that she screams at him, but yeah. So there's a few.
One that I know a lot of people key in on is "Inside Voice is Dead."
Yeah, I don't even. Inside Voice is dead. Oh yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. You know, what's funny about those is, so the animation for Aggretsuko is really interesting because they will often just leave the mouth hanging open when you would think that it should close. And so it will like literally kill us. We'll just be like, Patrick has had to just be like, "I don't care. We're just going to leave it. You know, it's fine." We've had to kind of play with that a lot. So stuff like Inside Voice is Dead and Instagram is Killing Her Soul or something like that, where she gets really big and animated. Hanging on stuff kind of sounds weird. And so we have to like find this happy medium. It's a challenge. Mm-hmm. So that's why I remember Inside Voice is Dead, because I was like, this is hard. Trying to make this work. Mm-hmm. That's the hardest thing about dubbing, is that you're shackled to, that sounds horrible. I'm very grateful for my work, but you are, in terms of like as a performer, I am shackled to what has been animated for the most part. Sometimes now they are reanimating mouths with dubbing, so we can sort of have more liberties, but it's still typically like, it's going to start here and it's going to end here. So that's the only amount of time you have. And usually like movement, even if they reanimate the mouth, like movement won't change. So like if they gesture on something, if part of the line is like, "and there," or something like that, you kind of have to still follow it. So you're still kind of, I don't want to say shackled, but you've got to commit to that animation.
Right. Yeah. And throughout the entirety that you've been playing Fenneko so far, is there a single moment where you felt like you were really bringing more emotional acting to it opposed to just comedy?
There's a few moments where she gets real with Haida, and it's not super emotional for her necessarily, but I think it's that kind of, she really does care a lot about her friends, and I think she really does want to see them happy. It's usually when she's drunk, which is so appropriate, because most people, it's like truth serum for them, so they start, spouting off things. But yeah, if I was going to say anything slightly emotional, it would be anytime she talks to Haida. She's his wingman.
Some other questions that people had from the subreddit. One person asked if she ever does get to sing in the series, what kind of like genre do you think that she would do?
Oh, if she ever gets to sing, Oh boy. Ooh, that's a good question. See, I don't think that she's gonna sing anything. Well, I don't know. So Retsuko's death metal is funny because it's in stark contrast to how she sounds normally, right? She's very sweet. And so I'm trying to think about what would contrast Fenneko. Maybe she would like do like pop. Like it would be like pop singing, like the OTM girls or something like that. I think because it would be in such contrast to who she is. Either that or like rock and roll, but maybe not like heavy metal, but like just, you know, a Janis Joplin or something like that, something gritty like that, maybe.
Yeah.
It'd also be hilarious if she like rapped. I mean, I don't think I'd want to do that because I don't think I can, but I think maybe. I don't know. I don't know. She does like synthwave. See, that would be my jam. I love synthwave. I'm like, oh, please do 80s inspired stuff, but I don't know if that would be her.
And somebody asked, or if your real life self was a character in the show, what kind of animal do you think you'd be?
Ooh, I think I answered something like this before once. Or no, they were talking. They wanted to know what my fursona would be. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, maybe some sort of a big jungle cat, just because I like them, but I don't, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means about me as a person. What would my animal be? Is that the question?
Yeah, if you were a character in the show.
Oh, with my personality.
Yeah.
Which is similar to Fenneko's, by the way, obviously. Oh God, I don't know. Something with calm, but like gravitas.
Okay.
That would be me. Something calm, like a tiger. I could probably do tigers are lazy as hell. Like everybody's like, oh, tigers. And I'm like, no, they sleep all the time. Like they're just basically big domestic cats. Well, they're not domestic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, look at a domestic cat. That's what a tiger does too. They just sleep, but they're like also super dope. I think that's like me.
Okay. Well, I know at the same time that the show started that you were volunteering and like you were friends with the real Fennec Fox.
Oh yeah, Dobby. Yeah, I was volunteering for a place called Animal Tracks. It's in it's north of Los Angeles, or north of where I live by about 40 minutes. It's right very close to a park called Vasquez. I always refer to it as Vasquez Rocks. It's where it's been used in a lot of different TV shows. I think like most notably it was in like a Star Trek episode, is because they're like really interesting rock formations there, and it kind of looks like a different planet. Anyway, so it's near Vasquez Rocks, and yeah, I would go and volunteer there early in the morning, and they had all sorts of exotic animals, and then also like some normal animals too, some farm animals, and they had monkeys, and they had a baboon, and they had a fennec fox named Dobby. And Dobby was so interesting. Dobby's like a little dog. I mean, they're like dogs, you know? Yeah, I'd go into his cage and he'd be pacing. He'd always pace really quickly. But then I did get a video, and I think I posted the video of me like petting his ears, being like, Dobby, well. Oh, he was super cute. And the cool thing about that place was that once you'd volunteered there long enough and they could trust that you knew what you were doing with the animals, like I could go and hang out in Dobby's cage and just like sit with him and play with him. And it was very sweet. And it was very funny because I did get cast as Fenneko when I was volunteering there. And I was like, I'm playing a fennec fox and I know one. It was very cute. Very cute.
I'm not sure if you can talk about it until it comes out, but is there anything with Fenneko that happens this season that's like crazy in season 4?
I can't talk about it. I cannot say a word. Crazy? Might be crazy to some people. No, I don't know. Honestly, like, nah, you'll just have to watch. It's good. Okay. I'll say that. It's fun. It was fun to record it, and it's good.
Okay. And going back to other roles, obviously outside of Kisara, another big female warrior character in Fire Emblem, Taneth. Yeah, so Fire Emblem, those sessions take about 20-30 minutes.
So I did that a long time ago, but she's cool. I mean, I just remember going in there and being like, what am I doing? What is this? Huh? And then all of a sudden I was done. So she's cool. I would hope that they bring her back. I've actually been able to start directing a little bit for Fire Emblem Heroes. So I've been involved in a lot of the more recent characters and skins of characters that have come out, which has been really fun. So I have a special place in my heart for Fire Emblem Heroes.
Another cool, fun role in Granblue Fantasy, the Sturm.
Oh, yeah, she was cool. She was another one that was kind of, one of the first that I got to do. She looks awesome. She doesn't say much though, so it was. But I love, I love Julie Madalena, who. Wait, did she direct? No, she directed Rising of the Shield Hero. Did she also do Granblue? Oh, I'm getting them confused. I can't remember. Anyway, Sturm, yeah, Sturm's cool. She's cool. I remember I was at a convention and because Ray Chase played Drang, and I remember him coming up to me and being like, Sturm, and I was like, oh yeah, we're a little duo. That's fun, because Kyle and Ray went to USC at the same time.
Okay.
So I had kind of known Ray before that a little bit. He had come over to hang out and be on Kyle's Twitch stream, and so it was very like, it was special. So I was like, oh, Ray, we get to be a duo. So it was fun.
So that's on the topic of directing. How did you and Kyle become involved with SMT5?
Cup of Tea, the studio that recorded the English VO for SMT5, they came to us. We had worked, with them before, and they just said, hey, we're real busy, and we'd love to give you guys the opportunity. We think you'd be really good at it. And we said, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so we jumped in and did lots of research, and Sega Atlas was amazing. And I got to work with an incredible cast. I mean, incredible people. I was nervous. I was like, I don't know, I can direct some of these people. They're so good. But they were all rock stars and lovely and so good. And we got it done. And yeah, it was a really positive experience. Sega Atlas is amazing too. They're just, Atlas specifically is who we were working with. But yeah, it was really fun. We laughed a lot in those sessions. It's kind of like interesting subject matter to laugh a lot, but we did. So it was cool.
Yeah, it was on Halloween, and he couldn't really talk about it, but what I did, Mark Whitten.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I love Mark. Mark is so good. Mark is such a good actor. Oof. Love his choices. He brings so much to the table, and so it's just constant, just back and forth and fun. And yeah, big fan of Mark Whitten.
And I was gonna bring up one role that is kind of unlike other characters you played, Mirei in Sound.
Oh yeah. Christian Lamont, who I also love, he cast me, and it was different. It was different because she's young, and I really don't get cast as a lot of young characters, and so not that I can't do them, just that if you're gonna, if you've got a really young girl, there's a lot of women in this industry that can probably do a better, I wouldn't say a better job, a different job than I can. And it is more in their wheelhouse, because that is what they do. I do soldiers and moms and snarky Fennec boxes, and you know what I mean? Like I have a different brand, and that's totally cool. But yeah, it was interesting playing her, and certainly fun and a little bit of a stretch. And Christian Lamont is also a terrific director and a good friend, and it was cool. We had a lot of fun. I mean, we always do. If we're not laughing and having fun, then what's the point, I say.
What is the case where you've had to alter your voice the most so far for any kind of voiceover thing?
I recently did a video game where I had to be an orc. Okay. And that was a challenge for me, because I really don't do creature voices and it was a little bit more in the creature realm. Thank God she only had 5 lines, so it was not that big of a deal, but like it was hard. It was hard for me. I mean, honestly, it's so funny. Like the first 2 roles I ever had, having to do dialects, having to do like a New Jersey dialect was definitely an alteration. In that same video game as the orc, I had to play a lot of the time in video games, if you go in for one character, they'll throw like smaller incidental characters at you as well. And so you'll end up playing a variety of characters. And I think I voiced what was she? A dwarf. And I had to like pitch up and do something kind of like cutesy for her. And that's also not what I do that much. So, you know, it's yeah. That I think that would be
Okay.
I've had to alter my voice as much. There's always like micro alterations, right? Like it's not a lot of the time I use my natural voice because that's honestly what a lot of people want. You know, when you're casting, you go like, yes, there are some people who are absolute chameleons and can do a million different voices, and that's awesome. But like, I'm really good at the grounded read, you know, like that's kind of my signature. And I have some pretty good comedic timing and, you know, and all that stuff. But yeah, character, super charactery is not really my jam. I like the more subtlety.
Have you gotten the opportunity to do boy voices for anything so far?
Not any that I could like pinpoint, like incidental stuff. Like, you know, can you voice, you know, boy 2A or whatever, you know? So people have asked me, I think in ooh, what's it called? Shadowverse.
Yep.
I think I voiced a boy.
Okay.
I mean, that was years ago and I cannot remember what the character's name was or anything, but I did do a little boy voice for that. So sometimes I can do it. It's again, though, that's not really my like signature thing. I haven't really been like tapped to do little boy voices. So, and as a result, I haven't really worked on them because they're not really my, you know, my thing. I mean, it would be fun. I could.
And how did you become involved with Pokemon Masters?
Bang Zoom, the studio that did it. I auditioned. I think yes. Did I audition? I think so. It's too long ago, too many things. Yeah, I probably auditioned for a character, and whether or not it was the one I got, I'm not sure. But they called me in, and yeah, it was cool. We did that was one session. I think Glacia is who I play. Yeah, it was fun. It was very fun. It was cute. I was like, what is this? Like, because I know nothing. It's always fun.
Well, I know one of your most recent anime roles that's also a darker character as Zofia in AOT.
Yeah, that was my first time working with Funimation. I mean, AOT is just like dark in and of itself. I think everybody kind of has to deal with the darkness of all of that. Another one that doesn't say much and has a well, no spoilers, but anyway, she's no, it was fun to work with Mike and to be part of a series that is so giant. It was cool. I felt very lucky.
Same case with One Piece too.
Yeah, One Piece is really fun. That was a really fun. I love her. She's dope. I remember I saw her. I was like, "This is who I'm playing, Mike." He's like, "Yes." I'm like, awesome. And her name is Jin Rami. Dope.
And do you have a lot of affinity with Rondine, Monster Hunter?
Oh, she's cool. She's really cool. Yeah. Rondine's another Brit, another one that they were like, English voice, please. And I was like, all right, fine. Yeah, I think the funniest thing about Rondine is like I mean, you go through that stuff so quickly. And I think at first she wasn't playable. And then she became playable and I was like, oh wow, there's so much more to do. But I think the funniest parts of her were trying to figure out, like, I remember I had to do some sort of recording like, oh, she's a cat now, or oh, she's dancing now, or like there were really weird ones for her that I was like, how would she do this? I don't know. So Val over at PCB directed that, and and we were just laughing about a lot of it. But no, it was really fun. It's super fun, super quick, but fun.
Is there anything else upcoming that you can safely talk about?
That I can safely talk about? No. No. Nope, just Aggretsuko. Check it out. It'll be fun. It was fun to record. It's awesome that we're on season 4. Never thought, you get a job and you think, well, this will be, a season or maybe 2, but it's been really lovely to see the fan response to it, and that we're making something that people really jive with and love, and that's really cool. It's also really cool for me because when I was growing up, Hello Kitty was a really big deal. I'm old, so I remember when like Hello Kitty was like at its first prime, and there was like a Sanrio store, and we'd go in, and Kuropi was my favorite, so I had a bunch of Kuropi things, and then and to be a part of a show that they that company is involved in creating is kind of nuts. It's very, very cool. I feel very, very excited, and yeah, I mean, couldn't have asked for a better character for myself to play. I love her. And yeah, I'm tickled that people like it so much. It's very cool.
And my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh my God. Oh, honey, I don't know. Oh God, I think that depends on the project, right? I think overall, I don't know. I'm not sure what I want my legacy to be. I suppose I want to be involved in telling stories that matter to people, stories that help people either deal with something in their lives, or just entertain and make somebody happy or laugh. Life is really hard, and I think entertainment is a great escape and a great way to for people to cope with the world. And so I mean, I would hope that when people think of me, they think of a really solid, grounded performer who brings a lot of truth and her own truth to her work. And and I would like to be somebody who people think is approachable. And yeah, does that work?
Yeah.
Is that the right answer? We don't know, but yeah,
Okay.
that's where I'm at with it.
And has there been any highlight of stories that people have came to you on how Fenneko helped them in some way?
Oh, there have been a few who really, really loved Aggretsuko and really loved Fenneko in particular. I don't know that she helped anybody through anything, but I think that they felt seen with her because she is so snarky and she just kind of owns it. And I think some people, think that there can be a misconception that you have to be like perky and positive all the time. And I just don't really feel that way. I feel like you can have a little snark and wit, and especially as a woman. And so I feel like especially a lot of people felt very seen by Fenneko. They were like, I'm like her. And I was like, yes, me too. Dope. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thanks for willing to do this.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Thank you so much.
And is there anything that you wanted to say to the Aggretsuko subreddit?
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much for liking it, and and for all the kind words and artwork and all the stuff that has come out of it. It's really, really warmed my heart and been very validating in an industry that can be very harsh. And so I'm very grateful and love y'all a whole lot. So thank you. All right, dude. See you later. Bye.